and welcome to the latest edition of In Focus. I'm your host, Cassidy Jo Fortin. Today, we are sitting down with Jay Barbuto, the director of the Center for Leadership here at Cal State Fullerton, to discuss the importance of leadership and how the center is better preparing students for the professional world. Thank you, Jay, for coming in today.
Thank you, Cassidy. It's such a pleasure to be here.
I know. I'm glad to have you in. Yeah. Let's start off with you telling us a little about yourself.
Sure. As you know, I'm the director of the Center for Leadership and the host and executive producer of The Leadership Voice. I actually joined the faculty here in 2011 at Cal State Fullerton, and I came from the University of Nebraska prior to that. I actually spent 14 years at the University of Nebraska studying research, leadership research, and teaching leadership coursework and developing coursework. I was the director of the Leadership Studies doctoral program at the University of Nebraska before eventually coming here to California. My dream at the end of my tenure at the University of Nebraska was to find a center for leadership that would allow me to do a lot of great things for that university.
Right.
And so one of the things I'm so excited about at the Center for Leadership is to be able to come and bring my passion for leadership and my excitement for the possibilities and the opportunities to make differences here on campus and in the Orange County community, and to bring those things here to Cal State Fullerton has just been a real joy.
That's really great. Your passion's very evident. I really enjoyed that. That's great. So you said you started here at the Mayo School of Business in 2011. What did you start out with doing? Were you a professor or?
Yeah, I was hired here as a professor, and so I'm a professor of management in the business school. I specialize in organizational behavior, and I developed courses in leadership. I teach a class in leadership, power, and influence to our MBA students. And I also teach a course to our MBA students in leadership dynamics. I teach that course using a teaching method that is new to the field. It's a teaching method that I developed when I was at the University of Nebraska. It's called dramaturgical teaching. While I'm teaching that course, I actually act out and perform the leadership styles that we're learning about in the classroom. Creates a really interesting dynamic. So the students in our class, they're learning about leadership, but while they're learning about leadership, they're experiencing the leadership.
It's firsthand.
Well, they know exactly what it's like to be around that type of leader, because I exhibit that leadership style in the classroom, outside of the classroom, in response to assignments for a very extended period of time. We call it dramaturgical teaching, and it's really changing the way leadership is taught at universities.
That's amazing. I would love to be in a class like that. It sounds very applicable to the real world and everything.
And the feedback from students is really positive. When you compare what you can learn from talking about leadership versus what you can learn when you're infused in leadership, it's dramatic. The difference, dramatic.
That's interesting. You mentioned the Center for Leadership. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Were you the one who started it? Was it already here before you got here?
Yeah, when we talk to the dean will always say, Jay Barbuto is the founding director of the Center for Leadership. And in a way I am. But the Center for Leadership was actually named in 2009, 2 years before I came to campus. But it didn't sit, but it was I'll call it in trust, waiting for a full-time person to take on the role of the director.
Right.
And so when I came, it essentially was a startup center, and what we tried to do at the center is we needed to infuse leadership into every level of the university. And that was really job number one, is to find ways to infuse leadership. And specifically, it's been geared toward every level of the university. So we want to infuse leadership in the business school, infuse leadership on campus, infuse leadership in the Orange County community, and eventually in the whole Southern California community.
Very nice.
And so to do that, the center has developed 5 initiatives, 5 major initiatives. I'll try to remember what they are. I always talk about 4 of them and then I forget one, and the one I forget is always my favorite one. So we have 5 initiatives at the center, and one of the things that the Center for Leadership is really proud of, Cassidy, is that we touch every level of the university. The Mahalo College of Business and Economics is very committed to its students, and very committed to helping students graduate and helping students prepare for their careers. And the Center for Leadership is a big part of that. And so our initiatives are very much trying to touch every level of the university.
Very nice.
What we do at the Center for Leadership is we touch all 5 levels. We're the only center in the business school that really touches every level. I mean, there's a lot of great centers of excellence in Mahalo College of Business and Economics, but many will focus just on undergraduate students. Some will focus just on maybe graduate students. Some will just focus on the business community. Some might have a couple of areas that they focus on. We're a rare center in that we touch every level of the university. I want to tell you about that. So at the undergraduate level, we have the Leadership Scholars Program. Leadership Scholars Program, whenever people learn about it, they want to join it. The Leadership Scholars Program is geared mostly for business students, so it's our business majors and business minors. And the Leadership Scholars Program exposes our students to top executives. If you've ever watched The Leadership Voice, you've seen some of the shows. So
a few times.
Some of the guests that we have. We have these great entrepreneurs, these great CEOs, these great executives from all over the area and even beyond the Southern California area. We bring these types of folks every month. We bring 2 of them in to meet our students. And so the leadership scholars on a monthly basis get exposed to 2 of these top executives every month. What a way to develop your own leadership. What a way to start thinking about what it's going to take to succeed in your life, to succeed in your career. And this is one of the great things that our scholars get.
Yeah, and not only that, but also showing them like this is what you can be if you work hard and everything. So that's really great.
Yeah, and so the other initiative that we have is, and that touches our undergraduates. For our graduate students, we have an MBA concentration in organizational leadership. And that's something we're really proud of also. So a student that's getting their MBA here on campus, they can be connected to the center as well in our organizational leadership concentration. And that's a new concentration that the center developed. We developed the courses and we developed the curriculum. We got it approved, and so now students can enroll in it. And new students enrolling at the MBA program here in Mahalo College of Business and Economics, they're selecting the organizational leadership concentration at a very high rate. It's only been on the books for about 2 years. And our incoming class of MBAs, I'm told it's one of the 3 or 4 most popular selected concentrations, which shows that the Center for Leadership and the things that we're trying to do are essential and timely, because our incoming students are saying this is what I want to do. This is where I want to develop. So those are our undergraduate and graduate programs. We also have 3 initiatives that reach out into the Orange County community and really try to make a larger impact and really brand the center as the leadership voice of Orange County. And that's really been our vision, and our mission has been to be the leadership voice of Orange County. So one of our initiatives is what we call bringing learning to work. And that is where we connect our faculty to businesses. So a business, any business that has leadership development needs or human resources needs or talent needs, they can turn to the Center for Leadership and our faculty resources, and we can connect our faculty to those businesses. We have a whole series of over 70 different workshop topics and training areas that we can provide. Many companies will hire us to do lunch and learns and half-day sessions for them as part of their own internal training programs that they offer to their employees. And what separates what the Center for Leadership does in this area from perhaps like a consulting company or professional trainers is that we bring faculty. And so one of the things our clients say is it's always nice to have the faculty come, because you can either learn from the people that took the classes, or you can learn from the people that that teach the classes, or you can learn from the people that have read the book, or you can learn from the people that wrote the book.
There you go.
Learn from the people that have read the research, or learn from the people that wrote the research. And one of the niches that we offer at the Center for Leadership is we offer a level of content knowledge that folks don't typically get when they select from other community trainers and whatnot. And so that's an exciting initiative of the center. It's really helping to connect our faculty with industry, so our faculty Cassidy, you take classes, so you know
Yeah.
that when a faculty has real world experiences to bring into the classroom, students appreciate that.
It's always so much better because you know that the professor knows what they're talking about. You can trust that you're actually learning from a good source. So yes, I understand what you're saying.
And so when our faculty are out there with industry doing training, they're out at a major company delivering training to their organization, and then they come back to the classroom. And the student says, "Do we really need to know this?" And the faculty says, "Well, I was just at this company last week, and these are the issues they're facing, and this is central to what is happening in industry." It's so much easier for faculty to stay connected with industry. It's so much easier for students to then benefit from that faculty connection. We see it as synergistic. Businesses also then get exposed to our faculty, and they get impressed with our faculty. And then they start saying, "Wow, we should hire people from that program, because if the faculty are this good, their students must be getting a good education."
Exactly.
Then they turn around and say, "Hey, we should send our students, we should send our employees for their masters. We should send them to Cal State Fullerton, because remember how good their faculty were when they came and did training? So we should send them to Cal State Fullerton so that they can get their MBA."
So it's just helping everyone out all the way around.
It really opens opportunities in every direction. We call it synergy. It creates synergy. Everybody benefits when we do that. The next initiative of the center that's also outward facing or external facing is our annual Leadership Awards. Every year, the Center for Leadership recognizes excellence in executive leadership. So we recognize the top executives of the year. Executives that have excelled in strategic planning, executives that have excelled in growing their businesses, executives that have excelled in changing the cultures of their companies, and executives that have done a great job of innovation, creating innovative programs or innovative ways of leading their organizations. And this year we'll be recognizing several executives that are being honored at our annual Leadership Awards. The annual Leadership Awards luncheon occurs on May 5th this year, and it's at the Atrium Hotel.
Fancy.
And so anybody watching, we would love to have you join us for this exciting event. It's grown every year. Last year we had over 200 in attendance, and this year we expect closer to 300 in attendance. And we have over 25 corporate sponsors already. So some of the most well-known companies in Orange County are a part of this event. And
that's amazing.
And it's a great way for us to recognize top executives. We also recognize top companies.
Okay.
At the awards luncheon. So we have what we call the Excellence in Leadership Development Award, which reaches out to the business community and tries to identify those companies that are doing the best job of developing talent. And this is something that companies need to focus on, especially moving forward. There's going to be a war on talent. Companies need to be able to recruit and retain top people. And what employees want more than anything else is to know that they can grow and that they can develop in their jobs. And so companies that are doing this are companies that are developing their talent. And we're recognizing companies that are doing that.
That's great.
Every year at our annual Leadership Awards luncheon. And this year we'll be recognizing, I believe, 2 organizations that are doing great things in the area of leadership development. And so that's our annual Leadership Awards. We hope people will come. Maybe you'll join us as well.
Maybe.
And the last initiative of the center, and there's always new things brewing, and we're always finding new ways to develop the center and to make a difference in the community. But this last piece is what we call the Leadership Voice.
I think I've heard of that.
You think you've heard of that. That is a television show. And it's a television show that we have that really provides a forum for some of our top executives in Southern California and beyond to share their wisdom around a variety of themes. And so every show we have a theme.
Okay.
And that theme might be something like cultural change and what it takes for a president of a company to change the culture. It could be about passing the torch in a family business.
Right.
It could be about creating a sense of purpose in the workplace. It could be about leadership and giving back and being philanthropic.
Okay.
And recently we had a show about leadership and developing businesses from the ground up. We call it rags to riches.
Rags to riches, there you go.
Yeah. And so the Leadership Voice is one of those initiatives of the center that is providing educational opportunities for the Orange County community in a way of giving folks real, concrete, and valuable lessons in short formats so that they can, we would say, get tuned up on specific areas that might be valuable to them.
Nice, and that leads right into our next question.
Yes.
Can you talk a little more about the Leadership Voice? What really made you want to start this project, take it on?
Yeah, that's a great question. And the Leadership Voice, a show, any TV show, does not happen overnight.
No, not at all.
And this show actually has been in discussions for 3 years. I was a guest on a show called Cox Civic Connection, and it was produced by Cox Communication down in Santa Margarita, California. Okay. I was a guest on that television show, and I was on there talking about the Center for Leadership. And after that show, the folks on that were in that production said, have you ever thought of doing a version of that show? Because it was Civic Connection, so it was focused on community and elected officials.
Okay.
Folks that are sort of there to serve the community.
Right.
Have you thought about doing a business version of this type of show, where you bring on guests from the business community? And I said, I hadn't thought about it, but I might be interested in that. And so the conversation started then, about 3 years ago. And we've always had it on the back burner as something that we would love to do, but we were waiting for the right opportunity. About a year and a half ago, our board of advisors, the Center for Leadership, in addition to those initiatives, one of the things we do is we develop partnerships with the business community. And those partnerships are with top companies all over the corporate headquartered companies in Orange County. If you can think of a really big, well-known company, they're probably represented at the Center for Leadership in some way.
Very cool.
And those companies and those individuals that are on our board, we meet with them regularly to talk about what their needs are. And we talk about the center and how we can advance the center and position the center to make the greatest impact on the Orange County community. And one of the things they told us is that we've got to find ways to really build the brand of the Center for Leadership. And knowing that we wanted to be the leadership voice of Orange County, they said, well, let's find other ways to continue that process. So the awards luncheon came from those discussions. The consulting things that we do with the Bringing Learning to Work becomes part of that discussion. And so then the Leadership Voice is another way of becoming a stronger presence in Orange County and Southern California.
Very nice.
And so that's where those discussions came. And so when we started saying, what about this possibility? Would there be a market for this? Would people watch this? Our board said, yes. This is an important piece, and there's nothing like this show, exactly like this show, that's available in Orange County that really speaks to residents of Orange County or Southern California and really shows them some of the lessons, the leadership lessons that can really take part. And so that's kind of the early goings. Then we talked to the dean, and we talked to some folks at the university, and we talked to some of our business partners, and we got a little bit of sponsorships. Zion Enterprises has been a big supporter. The Mahalo College of Business and Economics has been a big supporter. And these groups helped us to really advance the program. Advanced Beauty College also has been a supporter of the Leadership Voice. And as we have the supporters, the more support we have, the better we are equipped to be able to do this. And we get to work with some great staff here at Titan Communications and some great talented students, some great talented executive, not executive producer, I'm the executive producer, but work with some great producers and some great production team. And we're producing, I think, a really good show.
Yeah, just from my end, I think it's really great to see people from the business department coming in with people from communications. You're bringing in students, professors, industry professionals, and just all getting together to work on this one project. It's really nice, and I think it gives all of us here a great hands-on opportunity and also opens up for more connections.
Yeah, absolutely. Locally, it's a great opportunity for some students to work on a show that's got a lot of different segments and we have little themes. Originally, the original concept was let's just bring on some folks and have some conversations like we're having. And then we said, well, yeah, that's good, but we should do other things also, so that we're adding more value and breaking up the conversation. And so we started having a quote of the day. We started to have a Q&A session where people can send us leadership advice, like Dear Abby. It's like Dear Professor Barbuto, and they can write us and say, could you tell us, I'm having this problem with my boss, what should I do? Or I'm having this problem with my employees, what should I do?
Right.
And we're getting a lot of questions. We've been getting about 10 to 15 questions every week sent to us, and we answer them live on the air.
Very cool.
Which is a great piece of the show. So some people tune in just to hear the Q&A part of the show. We also have a TED Talk on every show. And so we bring on a professor from the university that has specific expertise around the theme of that show.
Okay.
And they come in and give a 3-minute leadership lesson.
That's perfect.
And 3 minutes is just about as long as we want to listen to a professor.
Barely touching on it.
Well, 3 minutes is usually right about right. Anything longer than that, and it becomes like a lecture.
Right.
But a 3-minute lesson, the professors have to come in, make their point, and wrap it up.
Yeah.
And you can do a lot in 3 minutes, as we're seeing on the show. So people should tune in and check out the leadership lessons. It's always like at around the 24-minute mark of our shows. And then we also have some leadership examples where we recognize people that are doing great things that are consistent with the theme of the show. And we also have a top 10 countdown, kind of a Letterman style, except we've discovered that it's not always 10.
Okay.
And we're not just trying to entertain. We want to give substantive work, and so a lot of times it's 6 steps of this, or 4 reasons for this, or 8 reasons of this. But if we could find 10, we'll use 10, because we love a top 10 countdown. But a lot of times it's just steps. But we have what we call the leadership countdown, which talks about the theme and gives sort of some step-by-step value to that relates to that theme.
So we actually have that commercial with us today, so we're going to go ahead and play that right now.
What do businesses say they need more than anything else? Great leadership. Easier said than done. That's why we put together a show that delivers everything you need. So get your leadership fix right here on The Leadership Voice.
Great investors are actually right about 40% of the time.
We couldn't really grow doing everything ourselves.
That's why effective leaders need a good dose of humility.
The Leadership Voice, Orange County's only TV show devoted entirely to leadership.
I don't know who wouldn't want to watch the show after seeing that amazing commercial for it. If we want to watch this, where can we find it?
Yeah, if you want to watch our episodes, and we have right now, there's 6 episodes that are up there and ready to watch, and there's a 7th episode that's already been taped, and it's going to go up there really soon. If people want to watch the episodes, they can tune in to Titan TV. It's being played all over Orange County, not everywhere, but in a lot of places in Orange County. Soon it'll also be in parts of LA County. This summer it'll be played all over LA County. But a lot of folks don't always tune in to television to watch. They want to see the real time, click on it and watch it. And so if people want to watch it on our YouTube channel, they can visit our YouTube channel. And also, probably the easiest way, if a person wants to watch the Leadership Voice shows, they can go to our website. The Center for Leadership has its own website, and one of the links on our website takes folks to the Leadership Voice, and it'll have a set of all of our episodes listed out, and they can look at the topics and see what's described and what the theme of that show is, and they can check them out right there.
Perfect. So they'll find exactly what they're looking for, hopefully.
Exactly.
What has the response been like since starting the Leadership Voice?
Well, one of the things that we set out to do when we started the Leadership Voice was to connect the center with industry and connect industry with the center. But in a way, what we're also trying to do is connect industry executives with other industry executives. And so by sharing the wisdom of folks that have specific expertise consistent with each theme, bring in people that really have done some dramatic things in changing company culture, bring them on the show to talk about changing company culture. That can then help other company presidents and other executives as they try to change culture. So the biggest reaction we've gotten is that this show provides a useful set of tools and useful set of lessons that others in the business community can draw from whenever their needs may arise. And that's the biggest thing. And that's an exciting piece of the center, because we want to be the authority. We want to be the voice of leadership.
Yeah.
And so what better way to demonstrate the voice of leadership than to be able to articulate it through a media such as the Leadership Voice television show.
Right. And what are some of your goals for the future of the Leadership Voice?
Well, our goals are to continue.
Yes.
Each show brings on new themes. And so every time we do a show, we feel like we're providing a tremendous service to the Southern California and Orange County community, because every show has different segments with quotes and advice and examples and lessons, where every theme presents something to the community. So our goal for the Leadership Voice is to continue answering the questions that executives have, and to continue developing the shows that people need to see.
Very nice. That's perfect. And then you talked about how you've done research in leadership. So I want to know, what have been some of your findings, and also, are leaders born or are they made? That's an important question too, I feel.
Yeah, I've been researching leadership actually for 14 years.
Okay.
And 14 years, for 20 years, I've been researching leadership. I just aged myself. I've been a researcher of leadership for 20 years. I actually started in my doctoral program at the University of Rhode Island researching leadership even then. And very early on, I was interested in the antecedents of leadership, or where does leadership come from? And much of the research I've done throughout my career, and I've done a lot of research through the years on leadership. I've researched different leadership theories like transformational leadership, servant leadership, leader-member exchange theory, a lot of areas like emotional intelligence and workplace motivation and self-concept-based theories of motivation and influence and processes of influence. So I've spent a lot of time researching leadership, all aspects of leadership. But one of the underlying themes of all of my research consistently has been the antecedents of leadership, or where does leadership really come from? And the basic question that's always asked is does leadership come from within, like as a disposition? Is it something we're born with, something that's inherently part of us? Or is leadership something that develops over time, and it's something that we learn and something that we train? And it's an important question, because if we said that leadership is born, then if we want great leaders, we have to find them.
Right.
But if we think that leadership is made, then our investment of time isn't around just finding them, but in developing them, growing them.
Everyone has the potential.
Training them, right. If we believe everyone has the potential, then we train everyone to become leaders. If we believe leadership is born, then we have to find those rare individuals that have it. And so the question, are leaders made or leaders born, like you've just asked, Cassidy, this is a big question, and it's a question that I've spent 20 years researching, and it's 20 years I've been asking that question. And so the big answer, are leaders made or are leaders born? And I get asked this question anytime someone learns about my research. This is the question they ask me. So what I like to tell people, where's the camera? Right there.
Right there.
So what I like to tell people, when people ask me, are leaders made or are leaders born? I like to tell them that leaders are born, but not at birth.
Ah, there you go.
Oftentimes, leadership is born, but it's oftentimes born out of circumstances. It's oftentimes born later in life. And so we have that potential. A lot of us have that leadership potential. We have good interpersonal skills. We're good with people. We have great ideas. But oftentimes it's life, circumstances that bring out needs, and we're the person that has the solutions to those needs. And so leadership is born, but it's usually much later in life that it actually comes out.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's I really like that idea, like thinking about it in that way. And then you're talking about researching leadership. I'm curious, how do you go about researching that?
Yeah, researching the leadership field is not an easy, it's not an easy endeavor. Much of the research now uses what we call multi-level modeling, and I don't want to bore anybody with what that means. But it used to be that if I wanted to study leadership, I just ask you about who you are and what you like and the way you like to lead. Then we started saying, okay, if we ask the leader, does that really tell us the way they're leading entirely? And so we've said, well, there are other ways we can look at it. Who else could we ask? Who else could we ask to find out the way you lead? What if we ask the people you lead?
Exactly.
And so a lot of the research in leadership is done by asking about the people you work with, asking the people that you lead. asking them to describe you, asking them to describe the way you lead. And so a lot of the leadership field and a lot of what we've done in leadership and the evolution of the research of leadership has been around finding ways to capture the way leaders are leading and then to test for the impact that those different ways of leading can impact an organization. So for example, Cassidy, as you lead your crew here, the way you lead this crew, will that predict the quality of the show? The way you lead this show, the way that you lead this crew, will that predict viewing of the show? And so we start looking at different outcomes and we start talking about the impact of leadership. And we'd say, well, if Cassidy uses this style of leadership, how will it impact some of these important outcomes, whatever the outcomes might be for your organization? But what if Cassidy used this other style of leadership? Would that change some of those outcomes? And this becomes the way a lot of research is done. Now that we can capture the leadership style, we can actually see the degree to which you might be exhibiting certain leadership styles with your team, and then we can test the impact that it has, their engagement, their willingness to come in here on a day off and to volunteer their time and to do things and to work above and beyond and to want it to be perfect and to never settle for just okay, but wanting it to be excellent.
Right.
A lot of the times that comes down to leadership, because the best leaders are those that can create a sense of spirit and a sense of purpose in what we're doing, get people excited about what we're doing, so that people not only want to do it for themselves to build their credentials, to build their own say resume, or or just for their own rewards, but they start wanting the product itself to be better. They want the company to succeed. They want the group to succeed. And that's oftentimes comes from leaders that are great at sharing a vision, having a vision, sharing a vision, and getting people excited about what we're trying to achieve.
And now I'm curious, would you say there is no one correct form of leadership? Does it differ depending on what company you are and the goals that company is trying to achieve?
Yeah, there's a lot of different views on that. And in the field of leadership, it's been said that there are as many definitions of leadership as there are experts who have studied leadership. I don't think that's completely true, but it's been said that there's a lot of views on leadership, and there really are a lot of views on leadership. Some views are that leadership is there is a best practice, that there is a best style of leadership, and there are many that believe that there is a single best way to lead. And those folks when they're studying research, when they're studying leadership, they're trying to figure out which one is the best. And so they're saying, which is the best style? If I'm transformational, is that best? If I'm servant leader, is that best? And so they're out there trying to figure out what is the best style. But it starts with the basic assumption that there is a single best style. Others in the field believe that the leadership needs of a situation can change, and that what's best for this environment might be different if we go over to another organization or another group. And if we go to a different type of company or a different type of industry, perhaps a different style of leadership will be best. So thinking contingently, thinking in a situational way, sometimes there are views that say that leadership is highly contingent on different groups. And that view, that view sounds more modern, right?
Yeah.
But you know who first really articulated that?
Who?
Aristotle.
There you go.
Aristotle first said that leaders have to evolve, and different people need to take and assume leadership roles depending on the needs of a situation. That was Aristotle that was saying that way back when. But we see it today in many times. If you were the president of Apple Computers, that doesn't mean that you would be a great president of In-N-Out Burger.
Right.
Because they're very different industries and very different type of customer, very different types of product, very different types of vision for what the company is trying to achieve. And so oftentimes the right leader is the right leader today, and oftentimes the right leader is the right leader for this situation or for this industry or for this company.
I've really enjoyed the conversation with you today. I'm hoping more people find what you said interesting and check out the Leadership Voice. Unfortunately, that is all the time that we have for today. So I'd like to thank you once again for joining us. Until next time, I'm your host, Cassidy Jo Fortin. Thank you for watching In Focus.